Welcome to the Driving Force Mastermind podcast, where we connect you with inspiring entrepreneurs and deconstruct the mindset, the habits, the tools that they use to build great businesses so that you can too. Today, we're going to connect you with Paul Samakow, who's the president of the law offices of Paul Samakow. Today, Paul's going to share with us, number one, how he combined marketing and business strategy to launch a new revenue center for his law firm on a national level. Two, the number one thing you need to do to make yourself take immediate action on the things that you know are important to your own success. And then number three, why you would turn down an offer of $100 cash every single time. So now let's get to it.
All right, we're here with Paul Samakow, attorney from Virginia. And Paul, being a Driving Force Mastermind member, before you started working with us, what was the one thing that in your business that kept you up at night?
Well, Sam, I've been an attorney for, it's now going on 4 decades, so I've been with you, 2.5 years. And I'm going to be real honest, I don't have a lot of issues that a lot of small business people have that keep me up at night, but I'm a workaholic, I'm a work-driven guy, and I'm always interested in finding ways to do things that are better, faster, more efficient, cost me less money, and customer acquisition is always something that every business person strives for, is, to find new ways to get more customers or get more repeat business. So those are the things that I think are common to everybody, and, as an attorney practicing in this area, I'm interested in those same things. I always wanted more clients, and I've always wanted to hone my process to be, better and faster, sleeker, deliver more value to my clients, and of course to do it less expensively than I had been doing it. So there's a million things that were attractive to me about coming to your forum and your group, primarily because I've always recognized that what's the best way in one industry isn't always the best way. You can learn a lot from best practices from individuals in other completely unrelated industries, and that was the lure. I wanted to be involved with other successful business professionals in other industries and ask them questions and learn what they had to say, that then I might be able to incorporate that into what I was doing. And indeed, that's exactly what's happened. I love being a part of your group.
I think we appreciate that. I know Walter and I are probably smiling here from ear to ear without a doubt, because we delivered for you. And I think one of the cool things that you found in what you're doing now, especially with orthopedic surgeons, if you can elaborate on that, I think is really cool, because it wasn't being one thing for everyone. It was that specific niche that you knew you could help and really have a huge transformation for orthopedic surgeons. Can you fill us in on that?
Well, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I've had a very successful law practice for, at the time, 35 years, give or take, when I joined you. And I came up with an idea that I thought it was something that I could deliver. That's not to say that somebody else couldn't, but I know that I'm uniquely qualified to deliver new patients to orthopedic doctors across the United States who will come from lawyers just like me, lawyers who have clients who have been involved in automobile collisions and need medical treatment and medical care. And we have choices as lawyers when the clients say to us, I don't have a good doctor, can you recommend somebody? And so my answer is sure, I'd like to send you to an orthopedic doctor. And what's very, very cool about the relationships that exist is that the doctor, because the lawyer is involved, they're not worried about getting paid. They know that at the end they're going to get paid. And that the lawyer is screening the case, in a manner of speaking. That means that they're sending them patients where the likelihood of getting paid is extremely high, because there will be a recovery on the other end. And so my thinking was that I could go to an orthopedic doctor and say, I can deliver patients to you because I can contact local attorneys and introduce you to them, and they would then be motivated to work with you because, frankly, it's difficult to find orthopedic doctors that will work with attorneys. Orthopedic doctors don't like working with lawyers, like working with attorneys most of the time, for a lot of really bad reasons. So there's a little bit of an education process with a doctor, and the lawyers will stand in line to work with a new doctor who says, yes, I'll open my doors, come on in. And so I have the ability to contact virtually every lawyer in the United States. I have their email address, their home phone, their cell phone, their office phone, their address. I can contact them in many different ways and introduce the doctor and say to them, here's a new doctor who will work with you. And the attorneys will fall over backwards to say, okay, great, when can we get started? Because, again, they're few and far between that will do that, but once they do it, these doctors enjoy, on average, a much higher income than doctors who will not work in what we call the personal injury field. It's very lucrative. It's very guaranteed, in a manner of speaking. I mean, nothing is 100% guaranteed, but as good as it's going to get, this is it. And the doctors get significantly more income than if they were to take insurance reimbursement or Medicare and Medicaid. On average, those three payment methods give the doctor about 38%, where with an attorney, the doctor is going to get upwards of 80, 90%, often 100% of their full bill every single time.
So, Paul, this is some pretty ingenious stuff here you got going. So, I mean, this is not just a small play. You've taken this strategy, which is now a new business strategy for you, and you've taken it on to a national basis, and then you even got marketing and sales involved in this. So, I mean, is this something you just came up with on your own, or where did all this come from, man? This is a really big play here for a law.
Humbly, I'm going to say, yeah, it is 110% my idea. I'm in a very unique and fun place in my life, Walter. I'm married happily to a wonderful woman going on 22 years. Our children are out of the house. They're both attorneys. I'm so proud of them. One is an attorney that does tax work up in New York. The other is, interestingly enough, she does the same kind of work I do for a law firm that's very reputable down in Florida. And so my wife is a busy person with her work, and I'm busy with mine, but we have a lot of playtime together. And, I have a lot of time that, I'll come home and she'll be doing something, and it's like, okay, now what do I do? And my mind wanders, and I just think of things. And I've had half a dozen, 10 different business enterprises over the course of my lifetime, which have been very successful, and some of them to the point where I couldn't run them anymore, and I sold them. And now I have this idea, and thank you for the compliment that it's a great idea, because I think so too, and we're working with different doctors and making a lot of them happy. And I'm at the risk of sounding like I'm patting myself on the back. I could break my arm doing that, maybe. Who knows? I think it's a good idea, and I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of me, and I like it. And being able to then piggyback with your group to be able to get more doctors involved is, I'm chomping at the bit. I'm very excited. I mean, it just is, because, again, there's a process. It is a sales process to, one, get the attention of a doctor, and two, convince that doctor that this is something valuable and that he or she may want to get involved with me.
And I will say about the downtime on Your Mind Goes, because we did chat on Sunday and brainstormed on something completely different for about an hour, which was pretty cool. So this is what happens when his wife leaves him for the weekend. His brain will go. So I will attest to that. But you said something in the beginning here that was really important. I want to make sure that doesn't get overlooked. It's really smart. Everyone always looks at their gains, and beginning in this group in our first meeting, and I remember you were going to go down a certain path, and it was the wrong path. One way you were going to go on one thing, and that loss aversion. I mean, people always look at my gains, but avoiding loss is something that's tremendous, because how much time, how much money, the mental stress on top of it. And I think that was the other key thing with having all these great other business owners and putting this together. It's they've gone through certain things and they've done things in their business that you can go ahead and pull into yours. And you were smart in that fact that this was great because you were able to get that information. But it's also avoiding going down a path of destruction. You might think this is perfect where someone else has gone down that path and it's the wrong path. So I remember meeting one that happened, and we could have, at meeting two, it could have been a disaster trying to fix everything, and then you would have lost time, money, and mental anguish. I mean, it hurts when things don't go right, and it lands on you. So avoiding that also is a big thing. So I remember that being a big deal. So I didn't want that to get overlooked. Of sometimes going down a path and getting the help of not having that loss.
Well, you're so absolutely spot on, Sam. As you know, I wrote a book about business, and it was a book to help people in business at whatever stage of their business life they're in. And I fancy myself a marketing guy, a business guy who's very, knowledgeable about marketing, and I've probably read 1,000 books if I've read 2. And I'm going to share with you, and I know you both know this, but the number one thing you need to do to appeal to someone to get them to act or to avoid action, whatever it is that is your desired result for them to another, the number one thing across all spectrums of action in the world is loss avoidance. The number 2 thing that is a motivator is gain. And so if I were to say to you, hey, I'm going to take a 2x4 and smack you in the face. But I'll give you $100. So are you going to act and take me up on that offer? Of course not, because what you lose, is potentially your eyesight or your hearing or your feeling in your face, but you get $100 you gained. Well, no, everybody would act in a way to avoid that, and they would not take you up on the offer. So we act as human beings instinctively to avoid loss. And then we get to, you're rumbling around in your mind, and what do you want to do, and how do you want to do it? Oh, I got this great plan. And often it is necessary, it's imperative to get other intelligent business people who can say, been there, done that, no good, for the following reasons. You're going to lose. You're going to lose something you have. You're going to lose something you value. And often, as you said, Sam, it's time and money. And, look, when somebody says they're too busy, my response is BS. I don't know anybody who's too busy. It's a matter of priorities, Yeah, I'm too busy if I want to go to the movies this afternoon. I can't make 3 phone calls. I get it. But which is more important to you? And so, if your time is valuable to you, you don't want to lose your time going down the wrong path. And that's the value, I think, of associating with, some of the very excellent people that I've met in your group.
All right.
Well said.
Well, Paul, I'm curious, because you do have this time available, that I'm sure you got a lot of different ideas that run across your notepad or your mind as you're thinking about all these things. How do you select the ones that are the ones that you want to pursue, the ones that you want to implement? Because I'm sure there's so many of them that you really want to do something with. So how do you select the ones of those ideas that you have?
All right.
He calls me on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
I got an idea.
Step 1. All right, we'll give everyone else Sam's number. Got it. All right, what's step 2?
Step 1 is call Sam.
Hey, Driving Force members, there's too much good stuff here to put in just one episode, so we split it up into two. Make sure you stay tuned in our continuation with our connection and special guest, Paul Samakow.